Hi everybody, this is Jen from Scrapping Posh, and I am here today. We are going to do a country craft creation design team project featuring the Moonchild collection, and I have 2 of each sheet. So just if you want to follow along, do 2 of each 12 by 12 sheet, and that is all. I'm going to set the 2 cut parts to the side because I'm going to actually cut these apart and use them as sew, which leaves me a total of 10 sheets to work with. And today we're going to make a 6 by 8 mini album with a 2-inch spine. So what I'll do then, cut my chipboard down to 8 inches. And then cut that down to 6. And then the spine, cut down to 8. And 2 inches. This is going to go together just like all the other covers and spines that I do. It's going to be a hidden hinge. Alright. And I'm going to leave myself a note so I don't forget to add a closure. And we're going to cut this down to about 9.5 inches. I'm going to take another 12 by 12 and cut it down to 9.5 inches. And then we'll have this overlap right about here. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This one's going to be 9.5 by 9. Okay. Now score tape on both sides here. I should have measured this out a bit. this is in the middle of the spine. That's where I like to put my seam. And then for everything in the middle, I think I'll just use some glue. Okay. And this one. I just line up my paper on the mat. And then line it up top and bottom here. Okay, and then the same as before, I'm going to flip this over because this is the seam that I want in the middle of the spine. And as we've said before, once you start gluing things down, if you end up going crooked, just stay crooked. Just make sure that the pieces are perpendicular to each other. I go along the outside of the album, my score tape, and then the inside, just the ATG, just so that I don't end up with any bubbles. This collection from Prima, the Moonchild collection from Prima, would also make an excellent junk journal. It was a tough decision. I'm still squared up on the bottom. So that's too much, probably. That's a little more than ½ inch. Just trying to keep it straight to the edge and split the difference between the top and the bottom. Along this edge we add a 1/4 inch score tape. And that is going to give us placement for our hinge, or our spine rather. Don't forget about my 12 Days of Christmas giveaway, starting December 1st. Every day through the 12th, I will be calling, or I'll be posting a video with a giveaway prize. And every day from the 13th through the 24th, I will be announcing the winners. And then the prizes will all go out after Christmas, so I can mail them all together. Or all at the same time, not all together. But essentially, you will have 12 chances to win. Now I just go along the inside of the book. So practice makes perfect, you guys, and it makes quicker. Okay, maybe not perfect, but definitely quicker. I'm filming this, so I'll look up 16 minutes and 58 seconds. I will have this cover completely assembled in 20 minutes, if not sooner. But I just use the desk to fold along all the edges to help me get a good crease. And then don't forget to take off your 1/4 inch pieces here, because it gets more and more difficult the more you start to fold it up. And this tool that I'm using, I think Cricut has one similar to this. This is actually a dental pick that I asked my dental hygienist for, and she gave it to me. I said that would be really useful for me, and she gave it to me. I think it was like an old model or something. I don't know. It wasn't the one that she was using. Rest assured. Uh-oh. Oh. I flipped it over and now my spine is here instead of here. Oh well. That happens, I suppose. It's not a deal breaker. We're going to keep going. I've done the long sides first, I've done the short sides first. I don't think it really matters. Okay. And then when you get to these corners, you do a little tuck on. Alrighty. I went ahead and put that one down. This is a 6x8, so let's go with a 7.5 inch spine. And I'm going to cut it at 7.5 inch and just leave it at 12 inches long. One side's a little longer than the other when you do that, but there's really no sense in cutting it because it kind of gets hidden. Okay. Oops. So I have my 7.5 inch sheet of cardstock by 12. And we score it. We're going to do 1/2 inch hinges with 1/4 inch gussets. So I start around 1 1/4. And then you go over 1/2 inch, which is 1 3/4 and 2 1/4. 2.5. That's your first 1/4 inch. 3, 3.5, 3 3/4. That's your second 1/4 inch. 4 1/4, 4 3/4, 5 inches, 5.5, 6, 6 1/4, 6 3/4, 7 1/4, 7.5, 8 inches, 8.5, 8 3/4, 9 1/4, 9 3/4, 10, and then I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I need one more. So we're gonna do 10.5 and then 11 inches. So, and that leaves me about 1 inch over here. Okay, that is the spine, or the hinge, in essence. And then on the hinge, I take my 1/4 inch score tape and I put tape on every other 1/2 inch strip. So you'll have 8 strips. If you have 8 hinges. 8 pages. Okay, and then what I do is I take each one at the 1/2 inch and fold it. So in the middle of the 1/2 inch. And I'm folding this the wrong way. I should be folding it this way because the tape is on the other side. It's much easier if you fold it the correct way the first time. Go. If you can give it a pinch and then pull it up from the middle, makes it a bit faster. There we go. If you don't trust yourself not to stick the hinges to the wrong place, just peel this off one at a time, because I've done that before. It's extremely unforgiving. Okay, and in order to adhere this to the book, I just get some 1/2" score tape out. Because I'm horrible at measuring score tape, I'll put a strip here too, because I'm horrible at it. I'm gonna go ahead and cut these at an angle here. And that just allows the page to slide down out of there, because my pages are going to be the same size as the hinge. And if I didn't do this, it would be nearly impossible, if not impossible, depending on how close I cut them, and fold them to get the pages on. Okay. And here. Alrighty. Pull my book back over. This is probably one of the most important things to try and get straight in your book, because if it's not straight, then everything, the pages will kind of go crooked. It's very hard to correct it. And if you do that, you try to correct it, then it leaves bigger gaps between the pages. Oh, that's sticky. What did I do that for? Okay. Alright, and then you just place this in the center. What I like to do is I line up along the bottom and between the last score on this line and the last score on this side, right in the middle. And you should have about 1/4 inch top and bottom. And then I just look straight to me. I'm going to take my foam folder here that I got from Country Craft Creations. It's the EK Success one. It's a good heavy duty one. And I run my foam folder right in that hit. That, I don't know what you want to call it, line there. This part on the inside, along either side of this spine. Okay. Now, let's cut some paper for the outside. So this is 6 by 8, so we're gonna go 6 in. Let me see how close I am to 6 by 8. Yeah, so let's try 7 7/8 by 6. And we may have to trim a little off. And I'm going to use one of these, that's the other side of this cut apart. And I'll be able to use one for each side. So first I'm going to cut it here. And then I'm going to cut my 7 7/8 in from this side, so I have left the most of my image there. So there's that side. And then this one I'm going to cut the opposite, so I still have most of that image. Okay. And then I may do a wraparound spine. But I think I'm going to find some distress ink. Hi everybody. So I just wanted to give you a little insight on how I create my pages. I cut all my pages at the same time. I make a page map. Not very artistic of me, but it's just a guide to follow. And then I start with the base pages because those are going to be the biggest that I cut. And then after I get done with the base pages, I cut the tags, the big tags, and then go on to the all the flaps and pockets and stuff. And then I label each one of the pages. 1, 2, 3, and 4 are going to be the same because there's 4 page designs, and then 5, 6, 7, or 1, 2, 3, 4 are going to be the first 4 pages, and then 5, 6, 7, 8 are going to be duplicates of those, but in you know, later on in the book. So, and then I put a sticky note on each one and put them in the order that I will be putting them together. And 3 and 1. Now, if I have like 2 paper collections, like 2 complete paper collections, or about 24 sheets of different paper, I will do the pages one at a time and then put the paper on them. But if I have a limited amount, like I do here, I only have 2 pages of cut aparts, 12 pages or 10 pages of pattern paper. I already used one of those and a partial on the cover, and I still have to do the inside. I get panicky, and I've never ran out of paper before, but it's a possibility. So what I do in this case is I put all the pages together before I start matting anything besides the covers. And then what you do is you take your biggest paper mat first, and you go through and you mat all that, and then you use the scraps to mat all the tags, pockets, and etc. So that is what we're going to do. First, we're going to go ahead and put the outside cover together. And I ended up with that really strange seam. It's only about 1/2 inch from my spine, so I want to make sure that that's on the back of the book. And that's because I measured something wrong, or I overlapped it wrong. But no biggie. I didn't have 2 sheets of this paper here, I would not be able to use this paper because I would just have to use the cut parts. But since I have 2 sheets and I love this paper also, it tells you pretty much exactly what this paper is about. And then the same with this paper. If I didn't have 2 sheets, I wouldn't be able to use it. And I'm not sure what charm I'm going to use yet, but I know I'm going to use one, so we're going to go ahead and put a eyelet in there. And then as soon as I get the front covers matted, we'll put our closure, we'll put a couple eyelets there and make a closure. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I found Dusty Concord is what I'm distressing my papers in. Okay, there we go. That's nice. Oops. And they put like a black lace or something here. I'm kind of feeling that. Well, let's see what it looks like once I get the charm on. So let's go on to some page construction. And I have everything cut as you've seen. And so the first page, and you will make 2 of these if you're making the same book, is going to be this is just the mat. So you're cutting a 5 by 8 3/4, and that is part of the base page. So if you're going to do all the base pages at the same time, you want 8 5 by 8 3/4 pages. We're scoring those at 8 1/4 and 1/2 inch, so 1/2 inch on both sides. Okay, and then the other part of your base page is let me make sure I got this right. 5 1/2, yes, by 7 1/4. So when we do this, all your base pages are going to have the pocket, but then you'll also see a strip here where your tag's going to tuck. And I'm going to get some kind of decorative punch for the outsides of these, but I don't have to do that right now because I'm not going to put the pages in the book yet. So again, there's 8 of these exactly the same. And sometimes I use score tape on the pockets, and sometimes I just use glue. Some people say in their climate the score tape doesn't hold well. So whatever your preference. And I gotta say that I like the fact that the glue, you know, you have at least, 3 seconds to kind of wiggle it around. So that's my base page for everything, but we're just going to work on page 1 right now. And then I have, I'm going to put the big mats aside because I'll deal with those later. I have a piece that is 5 by 5 and a piece that is 6 by 4.5. And on the 5 by 5, I'm going to score at a 1/2 inch. And on the 6 by 4.5, I'm going to score at 5.5 and 1/2 inch. In your pocket, this is going to be a flat pocket and it's going to look like this. Okay, so when you put your pocket on, you're going to want to leave a tiny bit on this side so that it's not butted right up against the hinge, but not so much that it's going to affect your matting, because your matting still has to go there. So you're going to have whatever you leave here, you're going to have that much extra on the mat on this side. So I'm saying like a 30-second. You just don't want it to interfere with the hinge. And you do want to put this one on before you mat, because you want to cover up this hinge here. You don't want that showing. Okay. And then this is going to sit here on top and make yourself a flap pocket. Things are falling. Okay. Oh, and you have to glue this back part here so that the stuff doesn't like slide right and just keep going. So don't forget to do that. Here we go. And then I think if I can manage it, I'm not very good at matting once I cut, like, I would like to cut like a circle, a half circle out of here, but we'll see. Alright, so that's your page 1 design. And I'll set that off to the side, and I'll do the other one off camera. Alright, I can't count because I have page 3 on top of page 2. Okay, so this must be my page 2 design. Put my sticky note back on that. Take the mat out again. So I'll do those at the same time. The last thing that I put scrapbook paper on is the mats, in case I run out. You don't technically need paper on the mats. Okay, now this one is going to be a little bit different because I do have to mat part of this before I put the addition on, but we can definitely get it almost ready. So again, for the base page, it is your 8 1/4 by 5, and you're gonna score at a 1/2 inch on both sides. If you use your bone folder on your score mat, you know, after it's scored, to smooth it out like this, make sure you go with the grain there. If not, you have little dimples in your crease. Okay, the same as last time. We want to make our pocket. You do not seal these pockets, by the way, on the back side, because that's where your hinge is going to go. If you haven't seen one of these videos before, they're pretty much all the same. Okay, page 2, base page, and then for the adder, I'm going to do a what would you call it, like a pocketed flip up. And so this is actually one of the scraps from the pages. It's 4 1/4 by 12, so I'm going to just score that at 6. That's all I need for that. And I scored that crooked. I'm gonna fix it here. Okay. Yep, 4 1/4 by 12, and then scored at 6 inches. I think this may be cut crooked. Alright, right, wrong, or indifferent. Now it is 4 1/4 by 6 square. But I don't want to glue this onto the page yet because I want to mat this first. Okay, but the other part of the page is a pocket to go on here. So this is going to measure 5 1/4 by 4 1/4 in the flat. And we're going to score at a 1/2 inch on both sides, giving us a pocket. That's going to sit right on top of that flap. Yes. Okay. And then this one we're going to seal also on 3 sides. So both of the flaps and then the bottom. There we go. That's also going to give you a little bit of extra strength on that. On that bottom. Okay, so there's your page 2, except, like I said, you don't glue this down yet because we need... Okay, let's switch to page 3. Put my peg back here. And page 3, again with the base page, same as the rest. this one, we're going to do a pocket, or a swing out pocket. So this is 5.5 by 7 3/4, and I'm scoring it at a 1/2 inch. And this one is 6 by 4.5, and I'm going to score it on the long side, the 6-inch side, a 1/2 inch on both sides, or 1/2 inch, 5.5 inches to make the pocket. Okay, here. We're going to make the pocket on the outside, and the flap is going to flip. Which way do we want the flap to flip? I think I want the flap to go this way again. So first I'll go ahead and glue the pocket on, and this is going to be another 3-sided pocket, or 3-sided glue. And one along the bottom, and that's going to seal that pocket up. I am enjoying using the glue versus the tape for the pockets, mainly because I can move them after I put them down if they're not straight. And then the entire flap, and just like the very first page that we did, which was similar but not the same, I'm going to leave just a tiny bit of room so that it's not pushed right up against that back here. I mean, it's like probably just a 30-second. And then there should be about an 1/8 inch at the top and bottom, because we did make that a 1/4 inch smaller. Okay. Last page. Put my thing back on here. Looks like we're going to do kind of a double pocket. So get our long piece out. This is the base page again. 1/2 inch on both sides. And the side. Okay, this one does not get sealed because it's going to have a hinge on it. Yes, I like that. I like using the glue for the pockets. It's way easier. Okay, now these two are both pockets, and on both the short sides we're going to score at a 1/2 inch. So this is a 4 by 5. So I score at 1/2 and 3.5. And then we're going to score on one side of the 5-inch side. And we're going to do the same with the other. And this one is 4 1/4 by 5. On the long side, you score 1. And on the short side, you score on either side. And then you can make any pocket this size. All you have to do, or you can make this pocket any size, is after you score, take a piece out of the corner like that. And that will give you the full depth of your pocket. Now these two we do not want to stick on because we want to mat the paper first. So there we go. Okay, I'm going to speed you all up and give you the quick version of all these pages once again. Where'd my sticky note go? Alrighty, so I'll be back when it's time to decorate.